Oh yeah. All my component colors have come together. The red, the green, the blue. And I feel like lunch.
I feel like you're higher than me.
It's because I'm sitting up. Sloucher.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like you sling your chair pretty low.
I feel like your tits are way too high. You're like just wanting people to look at your nipples. Imagine what they look like emblazoned with the Stark logo.
What are you talking about?
You got the wolf has just got your nipple in its teeth. It's worrying your nipple. I'm trying to boost video membership. now Jim is cutting holes out for his nipple. Oh my god. You might be moving from A to B, man.
Yeah. I know. I put on a few pounds.
Is it pounds or gravity? It's like they both. Yeah.
They combine, sort of like Captain. They turn into Captain Saggy Tits, I guess. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm getting close to 40.
Preaching to the choir, man. Preaching to the choir. Do you have anything you want to talk about? Because I have a couple topics.
I know there was some stuff early in the week, but I always forget about it. By the end of the week.
I keep a note journal in my phone for this kind of shit.
It's probably a good idea.
I'm gonna try to. Anyway, I had this. So I went on this road trip with my son throughout Ohio to see a bunch of different science institutions. We are hitting up in the next 2 weeks, COSI in Columbus, the Neil Armstrong Museum that's north of Dayton. The Lunar Museum that's north of Dayton, and probably if we have time, we've both been wanting to go to the Aerospace Museum in Dayton. We went to COSI this week, and it's an incredible facility. It's the best damn children's museum I've ever seen. In fact, it might be damning it. Like it is a children's museum, right?
Yeah, yeah. In what people traditionally think of as children's museums, yeah.
Right.
But I mean, so is the Science and Industry Museum in Chicago. Like,
I feel like
it all has all the same kind of stuff, you know.
So I think some like for example, the Indianapolis Children's Museum. I think once a child gets about 7 or 8, they will get nothing out of that place because it's essentially a playtime dressed up as a museum. And like this is more of, I guess, a family museum because I actually learned some things, and there's some really cool exhibits that like showed some practical effects. And you know, you learn some things. And we are going through it, and like we got there like at 10:30, opens at 10, and you know we saw a Omnimax theater about life and like the, you know, from the Big Bang to present time, and like how we all arrived from the same, you know, like pre-bacterial ancestors, and how we're related to trees and all that. And it was really moving and a really cool experience. And it's just like, if you've never been to an Omnimax, imagine an IMAX theater that is like mapped onto a sphere that is over your entire head, and they film it.
You can watch Pink Floyd laser show on.
Yeah, it's super cool. I wish as a teenager I knew about marijuana and LSD because that would have been the tits. But they film in some weird reverse fisheye, so when they film it onto the dome, it just all the perspective looks, and it's just like, you know, they were doing this early thing where they're walking through this redwood forest in California, and you just really feel like you're just in it, like you nowhere in your peripheral vision are you outside of this film. And we did a couple, you know, there was they have like really cool things like at their water fountains. They had this like aquarium above it. That is supposed to be the Scioto River, I think is how you pronounce this. And they said that like over each drinking fountains, like 90% of Columbus's water comes from Scioto River. Here are some things that we dredged out of the river.
Old boots.
Yeah, it was like tires,
vinyl records.
There was a bunch of weird shit, just like shit that you wouldn't want in your drinking water. Gas cans and stuff that they actually get out of the river. And every time you used a drinking fountain, they rig it up to where bubbles come up, so it seems like you're drinking that water.
Oh God!
To like reinforce the idea, like, you know, don't throw shit in there and like recycle and do all this other stuff. Like, so it's like even the stuff that's not explicitly exhibits are like trying to reinforce factual environmental lessons onto the children. So we're having a great time, and we thought, like, you know, we got probably got an hour and a half left or so. We're hitting up the dinosaur exhibit, and like at 4:55, this guy comes up and is like, "Hey, we're closing soon. I need to like usher you out of the exhibit." And I'm like, "Wow!" I said, "I can't believe you guys closed so early." And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Are you open later on the weekends?" He's like, "Nah, one Friday a month we open, like stay open till 10." And I'm like, "Wow!" And he goes, "Yeah, I know." I said, "We used to be open longer, but a couple years ago, we had a public funding initiative that got voted down, so we had to like scale back our hours." And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then I started thinking, when I was driving back, I got like, 100 miles outside of Cincinnati. I saw this billboard for the fucking Creation Museum. And I realized, like, you get within 300 miles of Cincinnati, you start seeing the billboards for that. I've never seen a billboard for COSI. I didn't even know COSI existed until Jack took a field trip to there like a year ago and told me how cool it was. And I'm like, how fucked up is it that this bullshit pseudo creation science is getting out there and publishing itself and like getting out in front of people and attracting eyeballs, and this really solid, cool thing that can teach you real facts and real things about the universe and yourself and the planet is getting no publicity, and it's funding cut all the time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's because we don't care. We don't care about science here.
And if you want to say, like, well, the Creation Museum's all privately funded. Oh, it got $200 million of tax fucking incentives.
It's also failed. Like, it's a failed experiment.
It's failing. It's still, like, I feel like that's an infinite tap of money. They can just be like, oh, liberal atheist assaulting our face. You write a check. And plus, it's like $45 to get in. COSI is like $15. And I had a $2 off coupon, which I guess, fuck me. I wish I had ripped up the coupon and just gave them the extra $2.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like, I feel like that's one of the reasons we're in this pitiable state, is that for 30, 40 years, we just have allowed all public forms of education to get shitty and recede and get smaller and get
there's been a targeted effort to make that happen.
No, it's not an accident.
No.
But like people, I mean, I'm one of them. I'm guilty of this. I've been living on this planet for 42 years and I've been watching it, and I haven't. And so I started thinking, like, what do I like? How do we help? Like, is there like a national science institute? I mean, I know there is, but like, is there a place that like you can give money to like help out this thing? Like, help. You
could probably walk in there with a big old check and say, "This is for COSI."
Yeah,
if you wanted to.
And I'm actually considering becoming a member. But
that's not even the problem, right? That would be treating the symptom rather than the cause, which is the apathy for education and science in this country.
And not just apathy, the antagonism. Antagonism towards it. I don't know, man. It's just
I've been reading about the fucking Portland situation that's going on today. I don't know if there's going to be an actual situation, but there's like, I don't know.
I don't know what the Portland situation
alt-right,
is.
Antifa kind of clashing stuff going on there.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah, there's. Oh, God. I mean, there's going to be body count. I mean, there's already been body counts.
Yeah.
But there's going to be increasing body counts at those things.
But all that is to just say, shit, I don't know what to do about any of these problems.
Yeah.
Like, there's such a stew of bullshit going on right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to systematically get at the cause of it.
Right. It's been 40 years in the making, so like you wanna just like yank the wheel and drive it, violently in a different direction. You just can't. You gotta have to. Where's the best bang for your buck on the nudging department?
And I don't feel like it's in the streets protesting against alt-right or leftist movements or whoever you view as your opposition. I don't feel like in the streets is the place that this is going to get done. It's going to get done behind the scenes with education, those kind of movements. And man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the resources or the clout to make a huge dent in it, but the best we can do, I suppose, is use our platform such as it is to either raise money to give to organizations that do this kind of stuff, promotion of science and education, or I don't know, at least educate our listeners as much as we can.
Sometimes you got to educate yourself because, like, like homelessness is something that I've been kind of like, and it's unfortunately, it's the least political cause that I champion. But every once in a while, it's like something that made me think of it. Like 2 weeks ago, someone was talking about moving when I was doing my solo lunch, talking about moving from LA to like a different part of the country because it's so expensive to live there, and like the homelessness problem is like fucking with them and like really challenging their politics. And I see, like right now in Cincinnati, the city's been waging like a months-long war against this tent city, where they crack down and the camp moves a couple different streets up, and I've been following really closely because I've been having an intense interest in this, and like you know, there's two sides to the equation. One is like, well, you can't let these people live on the streets because it's a crime problem. It's also just like a public access problem. You know, these are sidewalks and public streets, and like look at places like LA and Seattle where like they shut down entire blocks. And like I also know that whenever you say the word they, you're starting to like dehumanize them. And you know, there's people like on r/Cincinnati, there's these like violent flame wars between people. Like, these are human beings. We can't treat them like garbage. And like, they're not choosing to live out in the street versus like, well, they've made a bunch of bad choices that have got them there. And like, at this point, I don't give a shit about them and fuck them. The city should just, you know, like make a move to Newport, because that's essentially long-term goal is like, if you just continue to hassle them, they're going to walk the bridge to Newport, or they're going to go to some other city because, or they could just, I guess, kill themselves. That would be also acceptable to some people. But I started digging, and it's like, well, what the fuck? Because, like, you know, what got me into the whole homeless thing is this man that lives in our neighborhood, and unfortunately, this spring, the neighbors kind of like got on Nextdoor.com and bullied and like constantly reported this guy to the police just for like hanging out in the street and walking down the sidewalks. He's in jail now. You know, he's like got some kind of like trespassing, and he'll be out in like 90 days. And like, I don't know, like, but like, Jesus, is that a solution? And the people keep throwing the stat that like there's 20% capacity in the Cincinnati homeless shelters. All right. But I guess the big problem is that most of those homeless shelters require you to be drug free. They like, yeah. And spoiler alert, a lot of these people are on heroin, meth, or worse, you know, fentanyl, whatever. And the thing, I guess, like that I see the people that are trying to like get to the root cause is like, it's great that we have the spare capacity in homeless shelters, but what we really need is treatment centers, because there aren't any like many free or low cost, or they have months long waiting lists or stuff like that. Like, we need like some kind of like, I don't know, like this is where I start to struggle, because like, is it enough to have those programs so they exist and are available? I feel like I want to say yes, it should be. Like, if we built more treatment centers, or we had more treatment, you know, physicians and stuff working at it. But like, what if people don't want to go? Is it like, can you arrest those people and force them into a treatment program?
Good question.
I mean, there's always going to be some people that just, you know, are beyond help, and you know, that's where, like, I think that if society provided more good services, there'd be less people on the street. You're always going to have some people on the street, but you know, you want them to not be like 500-600 people in a city block, causing problems for themselves and others. So it's like, yeah, I mean, there's so many fucking difficult problems that we are struggling with, and all too often people just want to take the easiest, most expedient, laziest approach that requires them to not reevaluate their lives or how they're living or their relationship to their fellow man.
Which exacerbates the problem most of the time, you know?
Yeah.
Just makes it worse.
And like, I feel like also it's remarkably hard to find good information on that stuff. Like, you always see the plight of the homeless people, and it's essentially giving two microphones to a Reddit forum and have both sides to scream, like the people are like, oh, we should take care of homeless people on a gold plate, and you know, like, and then the other people like, well, homeless people have made bad choices and they've thrown away their lives and let them die, and like, there's no illumination. It's just like, what do we say? What we're talking about, like Tywin Lannister, like Cersei saying, coming to him and correctly identifying the problem that like the Tyrells are trouble, and you know, Tywin's like, no shit, what do we do about it? Like, there's very little editorializing or any like I know there's people that are trying to help, like the National Alliance for the In Homelessness, but like, they're not the ones getting the interviews and getting in front of people, and you know, I don't think.
Yeah, because they're not hyperbolic enough.
Yeah,
that's all.
They're like rolling up their sleeves
and
they're gathering information, and they're trying to be methodical about it, and it's
like
boring.
No, it's a culture of irony and hyperbole that permeates society.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that captures people's attention.
Yeah,
is over the top claims.
Right. Plus, everyone comes with their fucking bullshit anecdote, like, well, you say what you want, but my cousin did this, and then they Like, they're fucking
Right.
stole their parents' silverware, and like, yeah, I get it. It happens. It sucks. Like, people that are addicted to drugs and are otherwise poor and ignorant, they really cause a lot of problems in society. How do we, you can't round them up and put them in camps and kill them. Okay. So then what do we do? And I don't know, because I feel like it's less and less that first, like rhetorically saying, well, we can't just round them up and kill them. What we do, like, there's a disturbing amount of people asking, like, why can't we?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the universe doesn't care either way, so they're like empirically not wrong. We could, but that's not the society I want to live in.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, that's the shit that I've been thinking about this week.
Right.
Should we try to get some listeners in here? Maybe they can lighten the mood, lighten the load.
Yeah.
All right.
I like
Do you want to
it.
go Twitter first?
All right. Rory Tunningly has a couple of questions here. So it says, today it struck me that it's been 10 years since Breaking Bad started, and I still hate Skylar White. Is this healthy? I would say no, probably not. Also,
Oh, it says, is it acceptable? Probably not. Is it understandable? Yes.
Yeah, I suppose so. Also, what is Walt Jr. doing with all of his dad's dirty drug money? He went to that strip club that Jesse went to, and he just blew it all in one night. He had the night of his life, but
I
it's
think
gone.
Walt Jr. donated all that money to charity and now makes his living going and giving speeches about drugs and overcoming disabilities and the acts against you. And he takes a very modest salary that he uses to continue to work and donates the rest to charity.
It's very nice of him. That's very. I think maybe he took that money and he started a VC firm to fund services like Kickstarter and Patreon.
So, right. He's got bellringers.com, and that's the only crowdsourced platform that gives you the audible ding when you...
It's a killer feature.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the, I don't know, the killer app, whatever.
Marlon60 from the forums. On the topic of Aaron wanting to reduce his meat consumption. Oh, yeah. I don't know what Marlon's going to get up to here, but I've also tried the Beyond Burger Incredible Burger. I'll talk about here at the end. Sorry, Impossible Burger.
Yeah.
Not incredible. It's incredible that's an impossible, and yet I ate it.
It's true.
On the topic of Aaron wanting to reduce his meat consumption, totally understand where your heart and mind is at the issue. My daughter and her fiance went... Wait, my daughter and... Okay. All right, now I'm getting it. I had a top-down view of your family, and now I see it's bottom-up. This is your daughter and her fiance. They went vegan about a year ago for very similar reasons, the effect of the agriculture animals on the environment and the crappy way they're treated. I personally have tried to reduce the amount of meat I eat so I can eat better quality meat, and also I hunt so I can supplement that with wild game. Just to complicate your decision even more, I thought I'd throw out some other items to consider. One, lots of animals still die to produce soybeans, pea proteins, etc. I've watched soybean fields being picked with machines. It's like the red wedding for rabbits and other small animals that make those fields their home. But those same fields also keep a lot of their larger game animals well fed. Interesting. I mean, I don't care. Like, to me, the animal welfare argument is way further down than, like, we're fucking up the planet. And, like, it sucks, like, that a couple bunny rabbits get sucked in the combine, but you compare their biomass and suffering versus, like, the herds of cattle that we have all over the world. It seems like it'd be a drop in a bucket if you actually did an analysis, but I don't know. Two, between the biofuels that increase the demand for soy and food, much of the acreage across the country that the government used to pay farmers to leave fallow are now being used to grow soybeans. That means less native habitat for a variety of wild animals. On the flip side, it does provide more farm-related jobs in Middle America, such as tractor mechanics, and that does help local economies. Three, there's an economic argument to be made that the more you change current practices by staying in the system, but voting... Wait. There's an economic argument to be made that you can do more to change current practices by staying in the system, but voting with your dollars. Buy humanely raised meat at farmers markets and less of it. Opting out of the system is sort of like stopping voting because you don't like the political parties. It just causes decision makers to stop listening to you. That seems like a weak argument to me.
I mean, isn't it a supply and demand thing? Like,
because
the more
this isn't first past the post system where you only have two choices. There's a multitude. This is naked capitalism. So I am taking my I'm not voting. I'm taking my dollars and I'm giving them to companies that are advancing ethically engineered biomeats, essentially.
Right.
Because I don't want to stop eating meat. I like the taste of meat, but I want to do it ethically. So synthetic meats, artificial meats, soy that tastes like meat. That stuff I want to encourage. I want Beyond and Incredible or Impossible to blow up so that I get better alternatives all the time and more people see that and like, hey, this is cheaper, it's better for me, and it's better for the planet. Win, win, win. I'll just start eating this fake meat instead of the real stuff. And like if we can get it to where it's like just meat snobs eating Kobe beef and talking about the superiority of that, and like it's like a 10% instead of like a 90% problem, then the problem's so small that doesn't even need to be solved anymore.
Right.
I mean, because like for hundreds of years, people are going to fucking be eating animals just, if nothing else, just for like liberal tears, you know? Like, oh, you care about this rabbit? Watch me eat it on TV. Yum, yum. Like, that's just the way humanity works. But like, I can live with that problem. I can live with people eating meat just because they're assholes.
Stunt eating.
Yeah, stunt eating. Like, not because it's hard to avoid buying meat in modern America. Yeah, so... have you tried both the Impossible and the Beyond Burger?
I haven't tried Beyond.
I found the Impossible Burger to be very meaty in texture, but very poor in taste. I found the Beyond Burger to be almost unsettlingly tasting like meat, but the texture was a bit off. Like if you could combine those two attributes for those products, and I'm just talking about, I'm just eating a raw, like I had a Beyond Burger at Bear Burger up in Columbus, and they're like a high-end, like this is like a $15 burger joint. I had the Incredible Burger at Flip Daddy's, and it might be a preparation thing too, because I just thought the Incredible Burger or the Impossible Burger wasn't nearly as prepared well. It's drier, grayer. Like the Beyond Burger is red. It looks like meat. I don't know. I think you can buy both too in supermarkets now. My wife just picked up some Beyond Beef for us to experiment with tacos and like burritos this weekend. And now these are, I thought that one of them was a synthetic meat. They're not. They're just repurposed plant material.
Right.
I understand that there are some chicken strip type products that are engineered meats that are in testing and going through FDA testing right now, but I don't know. You know something else that I thought infuriating? Impossible Burger did animal testing because they had a new plant-based protein that had not been used in human consumption before. So they had to go through FDA approval for that and do animal testing. And I went on r/vegan because I was like wanting to get into, you know, a conversation about which was better, like Impossible versus Beyond. And that community hates Impossible Burger because they tested on 200 some animals.
Right.
Which
is what you eat in an average year.
That seems so fucked up and like so harmful of an ideological purity that like it actively pissed me off. Like, how can you say that this company, to get FDA approval for this thing, tested like what if they're going to save 200 cows this fucking year? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason George Martin can't finish his books. It's the perfectionist streak, right?
Yeah.
Like it's either perfect or I don't want it at all.
Yeah.
That's foolish.
And they're saying
you have
like,
to take small steps towards these things.
Their arguments is like, and then their argument, because like a person like myself was like getting into the discussion with them and like, you know, how can you not see and they're like, well, no animal consents to testing and we have no intrinsic right to force this on them.
I mean, I agree with that, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do it.
Yeah. There's no, like, the lady, there's no intrinsic, like, I say lady, that's sexist. It could be a dude. Person, there's no intrinsic rights to anything anywhere. Like, all we're trying to do is make the world a better place. And if your your ideological purity is arguably making it worse, then what the fuck? Like, if you're standing in the way of tens of thousands of cows not being eaten because you won't sacrifice 200 lab rats, that is, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And anytime I get like to the extremes of, and I don't want to just a both side stuff, but like, I don't think it's any secret that I've been like exploring alternatives to capitalism of late. And anytime you get into the fringes of any movement, like people get fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
They're like fucking crazy. They do in the style of argumentation and the lack of respect for evidence and any kind of like logical progression of your thinking or long-term thinking goes completely out the window. I don't know. Maybe we need those people to move the Overton window, because it's all a bunch of centrists. Nothing would ever happen. But God damn, it's exhausting sometimes. Mike, thank you for that. Your turn, man.
Rory Tenningley also asks, what is your favorite character in It's Always Sunny and why? I think mine is probably Frank, because Frank is just, I feel like even more than Charlie, he's the character and the actor who's willing to do literally anything on that show.
Yeah.
You want to put me in my underwear and trap me in a playground curly-cue thing for an entire episode? Yes, I will do that. You want to have me slide naked and sweaty out of a couch that I've been sewn into? Yes, I will do that. Frank is to me like both the craziest and the most willing actor to do just anything.
I think my favorite is Charlie, but the one that consistently makes me laugh hardest is Mac.
Okay.
Especially
why?
Well, so
he gets me sometimes, but not as much as like Frank.
I think he might be maybe the funniest guy behind the scenes, because it's him and Glenn that essentially write everything and come up with the big bits. If you ever go on YouTube and watch like the outtakes for each season, he's the consistent one that's like making people break up, because he'll just do like the one season where Matt got super fat. He was like eating a burrito in front of the other guys at a table, and he was making these like mewling baby noises, like an infant suckling on a breast. And the guys couldn't handle it because he's just, I can't do it justice. Like just physical shit like that. He's just really funny and oblivious, like even more oblivious than Charlie. So yeah, I think I think Charlie's my favorite, but Mac I think makes me laugh the hardest because he lacks. All of them are pretty unself-aware, but like I think he's the furthest out into like the dichotomy between the person he thinks he is and the person he actually is funny to me.
I feel like any answer except for Dennis is acceptable. Dennis is the one character who's truly, in my mind, reprehensible.
Oh yeah,
and knowingly, willingly so.
Yeah, like criminally.
Yeah,
Frank too, but more like
less so. I think
more like the kind of vileness that you'd get like in any kind of like seedy side of industrial capitalist kind of like. Sure. I'll pump shit in a river and don't care, but like. Dennis,
but then I'll go pull crabs out of that river and eat.
Yeah,
them
right.
Because
I don't believe the pollution is bad.
Right.
Yeah,
what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm sure that's what Frank would
Dennis
say.
is just a monster. He's American truly. Psycho. Yeah, I like that. I think Dee's underrated too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because she's really fun. She like when they allow her to like take the front stage and be really funny. It's really funny.
Well, I mean, she's the straight person most of the time, right?
Yeah.
She's playing the straight man in this situation.
I feel like that has become
looking at people and going, "Oh my God, what are you doing?"
I read an article where the guys realized they were using Caitlyn in that way, and like in later seasons, they're like, "Why can't Caitlyn be as insane as all of us?" Sure. And since then, like I'm thinking like the St. Patty's Day episode.
Well, I mean, Elaine was that in Seinfeld too, right? Like if this is the formula of Seinfeld, Elaine was most of the time the straight person in that.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, she'd get crazy.
Right.
They'd let her do something more interesting.
Right. Are we ready to move on, or we still want to talk? When's the new season of Always Sunny coming out?
I don't know. I watch them when they hit like Netflix or something.
By the way, hold on a second. If you like Glenn Howerton, speaking of Glenn, Portugal the Man has a music video with him starring in it that is really inventive and funny. I'm trying to find Howerton. Here we go. It is the video for Rich Friends. It's really funny, and it goes dark places. It's like a little you should check it out. Everyone should check it out if you're Always Sunny fan. Nate MD from Atlanta, Georgia. Listening just now to one of the lunches, and I heard you talking about how you got into vaping when Cecily started vaping to quit smoking. Does Jim vape too? What kind of setup do you use? Do you do any DIY e-juice mixing or buy commercial? My dad started vaping to quit smoking several years ago, and I got into the DIY mixing to help him save money. I vape zero nicotine versions of the juices I mix as I create new recipes. If you want to tell me your nicotine preferences, the types of juices you add, this is he's just offering to be our mixologist. Jim, let's
Oh yeah, I got a 1 ohm coil. You know, it's reverse vacuum pack. Fuck, I don't know. No, I don't vape. I toyed with it for a while.
Yeah.
I gave it a shot. Because, you know, I feel like everybody goes through the phase where like, I bet smoking would be cool. And, you know, I smoked actual cigarettes for maybe, like on and off, you know, like maybe a pack every 2 weeks or something for about a year. And then I said, this is dumb. And I stopped doing it. But that was way before, that was way before vaping was even a thing. And then somewhere along the way, I was like, vaping might be okay. I tried that for like a year and was like, nah, not for me.
When I worked at the C-store chain, a lot of times we'd go to these trade shows, like, you know, there's the National Alliance for Convenience Stores, for example, and you get to see all the new pump technology and all the new Slurpee technology. And I remember when e-cigs started coming out, these guys at this booth were handing out these e-cigars that, like, they're size of like a nice Cuban, and they glowed. The tips glowed red when you pulled the drug on them, and they gave you a nice thick cloud of smoke. And I thought they were super cool, so I'd sit in my office and I practiced blowing smoke rings because, you know, I'd never ever smoked beef in my life at that time. Like that's before I even, you know, smoked tobacco alternatives. And like the novelty just being able to blow these fat smoke rings, like, you know, it's like I guess teaching yourself juggling. Like there's this like self-satisfied, look at me, look at what I'm doing with my body.
Yeah.
I'm fucking like a hobbit with Gandalf and I'm blowing smoke galleons. And then I forgot it for several years. And then Cecily wanted to get into it because she really wanted to, like, you know, finally kick smoking. So she started, and she, like, I was afraid that she would buy a bunch of bullshit, and I knew you had gotten into it a little bit, so I started researching, and I'm like, okay, here's a setup that you, because if you get it bad, especially a couple years ago, you get a bad e-cig setup, and it's the fucking worst.
A few years ago, all they had was bad setups.
Yeah. So I did some research, and like what we ended up with was like a Nautilus Mini. If you are familiar, that's like probably old tech, but it's like top of the line 5 years ago, and like an E-Leaf battery pack. And we, all three of us, me, Cecily, and Jim, got into like mixing flavors, and we actually toyed with the idea of starting a business because it was starting to boom.
It was on the cusp of just exploding. Yeah.
Right. I wonder what, because like I feel like there's been a boom and bust.
Yeah, it was moving to the Midwest, right? It had been on the coast, on the West Coast,
but now
forever.
Like the smoke lounges, the e-smoke lounges,
right?
and
They were
shops
popping up everywhere,
and you can, like, some of this high-end juice was going for like $30 for like $1 a milliliter.
Yeah,
and you can buy a liter of like what the fuck is that? The vegetable glycerin and the poly.
VG and PG.
Yeah, I forget what that stands for. The glycerin product for like $6 or $7. Yeah, and you can get the little flavors.
No, the profit margin is insane on those things.
It's so insane. Yeah. It's so crazy. You know, we actually got to the point where we like picked out a name. We're designing labels.
Designed a label. Yeah,
like I think we got cold feet because like we realized we'd have to essentially stop Bald Move, and you know, like it seemed much more risky than just keep. And it was also
the time when people were talking about regulation, and it was like, well, if we do this, we're gonna have to like jump through a bunch of legal hoops here in a year.
Yes.
Like it started to look more intimidating.
Yeah. So I got into it because I thought the tech was kind of fascinating. I like blowing smoke rings, and it was kind of like a fidgety kind of thing that I could do. Like when I'm playing video games or stuff, instead of like eating, because like if I mix up like a creme brulee flavor, like I could not snack at night and just do that, and actually it helped me lose a bit of weight. And actually, I think it permanently changed my nighttime snacking routine. Like I don't do that nearly as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, none of us are doing it right now. Cecily, like, she is a social smoker now. Like, if she goes out to a bar with her friends, she'll have a smoke or two. But like, I'm fine with that.
That's what I was.
Yeah. I don't, because I
still
my sister got me to try a cigarette like 2 years ago at a beer fest, and I didn't like it. You know.
No, cigarettes are gross, but
yeah, like a hookah. I enjoy, like, you know, I got the nicotine buzz and it tasted good, and it like it wasn't making me choke up, but like cigarettes, I just feel like they taste bad.
They do, yeah.
You know,
no, it's really just something to do when you're hanging out with your friends, essentially.
Right. Something to do with your hands.
I just choose a glass of whiskey instead.
Yeah. Good. It's a good look.
Or a glass of wine. I don't know. Whatever.
Is there anything from the tweetosphere?
Yeah.
Hashtag bald lunch.
We got a bunch. Sneak in a plug-in for their website here, fandomfound.com. Asks, please review and let us know your thoughts on today's Bald Lunch, and they linked to Ringer's 100 best TV episodes of the century. Have you seen this list?
I did. We talked about it on the
briefly, yeah, on
last
Twitch
night.
last night.
I don't know how much we want to discuss it because like it's one of those things where I talked about. You were talking as I was playing Fortnite. You were talking about it and like how you agreed with it mostly, but there's a couple of like edge cases bullshit, and I'm like. That's kind of Bill Simmons, who runs the Ringer. That's his kind of like superpower, is coming up with these like gamified systems where you can like endlessly argue the details of something, and like you essentially weaponize people's wanting to rank and list and compete and argue for things. And I think adding a couple of like screwball edge cases just. Like, if it's patently unfair, it's dismissive. But if it looks like, oh, this is 90%, I completely agree with. But what the fuck? That's like, that's the viral. That's where people start sharing it. And that's where you get people like us on a competing podcast network talking about their goddamn list.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, the community's talking about it for sure. There's a post on our forums about it. They're asking about it in Bald Lunch. But yeah,
it's kind of like, it's like any of these lists are essentially a degenerate form of award show where there is no validity to any of them. Like maybe you can get
that's true of any award show.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like it's that only you don't even get a gold statue for recognition.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, so but no, I wish we had more time to do shit like that. Honestly, I wish we had time to like lock ourselves in a conference room with a couple other smart people and just like come up with stuff like this. Because man, it seems like it's super successful. Like we could do podcast series like that, and deliberations on them and all that kind of stuff. And that's how I honestly.
As a matter of fact, we do every year. They're called the Baldies.
And the Baldies was a lot of stuff that I learned from Bill Simmons doing that. Like the fact that we record the deliberations and show it. That's totally a Bill Simmons move.
Yeah,
like
Giant Bomb does that as well.
Oh, does it? Okay, yeah. So maybe it's not just Bill Simmons, or maybe they're biting on.
It seems
Bill
like
too.
A lot of people do. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's stuff you get. It's part of the process anyway, and it's interesting.
And I wish I had that insight into like the Oscars, right? Because then I would at least understand why they chose the thing they chose.
Yes.
And then I could disagree with them on those grounds, or agree with them either way. Like that would be cool.
Like, yeah, why did The Wire get froze out? Like,
Yeah, why aren't you talking about The Leftovers? Did you get an episode of The Leftovers this year?
Right.
Did you guys watch it even?
Yeah.
Or did you not have time to get to it and said it's too small of a show, don't worry about it?
Yeah, I don't even need deliberations. I'd love to see the members voting like some kind of heat map to see how many of them watched each show that was eligible in each category.
Yeah.
Because I bet there's huge spikes of people watching like the most popular, well-known name recognition stuff. And that's the stuff that wins the awards regardless of like its merit.
Yep.
Because it would explain the facts. Let's see. Noel from Dallas. Do you believe in the power of naps? Maybe it's because I'm now in my 30s, but multiple naps during the week have increased my productivity. I don't work normal hours, so I'm able to sneak in 45-minute to 1-hour naps 2 or 3 times a week. Just want to know if either of y'all nap, and how do they affect your sleep schedule or productivity with work?
Man, I try to avoid naps. I avoid naps at all costs because I feel like it would throw off my sleep schedule, which admittedly is not good anyway, but I feel like it would further throw it out of whack toward the staying up too late.
Yeah, I used to nap. Like one of my first like real jobs, I worked for USA Group, which then became Sallie Mae. But every floor and every tower of their campus, they had a nap room, whereas like 8 to 10 cots, low sound, or like a noise machine and low lighting, and they encourage their employees to take like 20 to 30-minute power naps
instead of going to lunch. No.
I just whatever, and like I made use of that like a couple times a week, and I felt it helped a lot. But as I've been doing this thing now where like I essentially unless I have to like take Jack to school, I essentially go to bed and wake up naturally. I don't even set my alarm, and I find when I do that, I go to bed and wake up within a half hour of when I want to anyway, and I don't feel the need to have naps anymore. Sometimes I get like, I've had to work really late on this book thing that I've been working on, or like when I'm daylight savings time fucks me up a lot, or like Jack's got a new, like he's got to be there school an hour earlier. That's going to be a rough transition, but I don't know. That's the wisdom. Like it's even like Cecily and I used to stay up to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the weekends just because we could, and now it's like we've realized that like, hey, let's go to bed at like midnight like we always do, and then don't sleep until noon. And like it's so funny because like all the sleep hygiene stuff that I always dismissed for purely subjective reasons, it turns out I think there's truth to it.
Yeah.
So
does the Sleep Foundation, the National Sleep Foundation. They probably have
their fingers in every pie, every nap pie in the nation. Yeah, there's a National Sleep Center logo above every one of those sleep chambers, and they pump their cubicles full of
neurotoxins,
carbon dioxide to make us sleepy. Not enough to kill us, just enough to make us sleepy. Big sleep. Gotta watch out for big sleep.
You sure do.
Jim, you got one for Twitter?
Kumano7 on theme today asks if you could disinvent one thing, what would it be? I would say cigarettes. As an ex-smoker, that was a tough habit to kick.
What was the first part of that question?
If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be? The internet.
Social media.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I feel like we should have spent a lot more time thinking about social media, because we used to have loose collections of fandoms and collections of interests that you had to seek out, and a community formed around it, and, you know, people got forced to see other views because you would, you know, be on your fucking G.I. Joe forum, and you'd be some shitheel from Indiana with a bunch of ignorant beliefs, and then you talk to a G.I. Joe fan that you'd find out was cool, and then you'd find out that, oh my god, this guy's gay. Oh my god. Oh, but he's still a pretty cool dude. Huh. Wonder if I've been wrong all the time. Whereas social media, you just talk to people who are just like you all the time. You get more and more extreme in your views.
Yeah. Yeah, because now there's, you know, a place that gay G.I. Joe fans go to talk to each other,
and
you're never exposed.
And they don't hang around because like they have uncomfortable interactions, or the straight, what happens is the majority takes over, and it's now hostile to the minorities, and
so they spin off their own thing, and
then
you're not forced to,
and it's not
interact
around
with people who are different than you.
It's not a bunch of platforms unified by passion. It's one single platform with no unification other than selling your attention for ads and dollars, and it's done nothing but make our society sick and weak. And I like it. Like we fucked up. We should have stopped at Instant Messenger. Like the second we went to
as soon
sharing
as
and likes and tagging, and it's gone downhill.
I don't have any good ones to disinvent. I feel like social media is a pretty good one.
Man, I feel like I almost went like nuclear weapons, but honestly, I feel like they've been a big force for peace in the world.
Okay.
Like nuclear weapons came to the table, and like the world settled the fuck down. You know?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had a world war since then.
And I don't know what happens like when, like now that like this technology is achievable by like, you know, rogue actors, like if like just some faction blew up a city, I don't know what would happen. Probably nothing good. But like at the nation state level, it seems like the invention of nuclear weapons is like the sound of your dad taking his belt off. Like it just like sobers everyone the fuck up.
Yeah. How about circus peanuts? I'd disinvent circus peanuts.
Yeah,
they're the worst fucking candy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. Wondered Object from San Fran. Watching Game of Thrones for the first time, and I came across this little gem while I listened to your podcast. You guys go on an epic mini rant about rose gold. My question for you guys is:
we do?
Yeah, we do. Do you want to listen to it?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Because I got it queued up here. My question for you guys, do you still feel that same way about the color? My wife is obsessed with it, and it's all you see everywhere I go. Fucking Jay-Z's ate up about it. He name-checked rose gold like 4 times on his joint album with Beyonce. A distracting a number of times of rose gold was he name-checking. It's like weird. I just went to Disneyland yesterday, and I was almost a requirement. Rose gold ears, backpacks, churros, rose gold churros. Anyway, here's the link to the podcast.
You gotta watch out for Big Rose Gold.
Big Rose Gold is
making inroads into society.
They sure are. They #1 threat right behind Big Sleep.
Who benefits when Rose Gold is sold? Apple? Like,
yeah.
When Rose Gold devices are sold, it's
color.
Apple.
They invented a color.
I feel like they did, but now it's spread to everything. Like Apple's not the only one making rose gold. So
yeah.
Why is Jay-Z dropping rose gold?
I think he genuinely likes it. I just see it as a
but whenever I hear Jay-Z doing something, I'm like, what is his business motivation? Because this is a man
to make money, to stack
right. So is he like investing in companies that have rose gold accessories that they make for rose gold phones, or
I don't know
where? Why? I just ask why.
Duce is going to come out with a rose gold bottle, and he wants it. I mean,
exactly.
He's got to. Plus, it's like it's so
he's building something there.
Like he name checks it. Like he name checks Tom Ford because he is hitching his star to something that is, urbane and high end and prestigious.
Right.
How
part of an image.
Rose gold is the Fisher Price of precious metals, and I don't get it. It's like my first precious metal.
But it's not because it's on the high-end iPhones, right? So it's kind of associated with that high-end luxury.
I never was aware of rose gold until iPhones started. So like I do think that is a inflection point. If I want to borrow some podcast movement parlance, it's an inflection point where it just exploded.
Absolutely, yeah. They probably didn't invent the color, but they definitely popularized, like the iPod, right? They didn't invent MP3 players; they just popularized them.
That is true.
So they're doing the same for rose gold, and now Jay-Z's on board.
We need a deflection point because there's too much rose. I can't explain it.
It'll be U2 when they come out with their next color of iPhone. It's not red; it's rose red.
Yeah,
which is actually just pink.
Or what about rose silver? Like, how come we don't have rose silver and rose bronze? And
those are next. Those are in the pipeline.
Rose platinum.
The rose tech takes a while to develop.
That's true. Because you got to get a female rose plant to fuck some bullion,
right?
And like that's like it's like animal, vegetable, mineral. You're trying to put vegetable and mineral together. It's tough. It's a tough sale for everybody. Jim, you got a tweet?
Oh,
or was that mine? No, that was yours. That
was yours. Yeah. All right. BJ Whitkoff says, "What business plan or guru do you follow? Gary V or anyone else?" I've read Vaynerchuk, I think is his full last name. I've read some of his stuff. I think Crushing It, is that the title of the book I have? I don't know. I've read some of his stuff, but I don't really follow like gurus. Like I loosely follow them. I used to be real big into like Hacker News, and those kind of people are all over the Hacker News forums. Like every time one of those guys sneezes, they're like, "Oh, who are
the examples of the
Gary Vaynerchuk?"
Man, these last few weeks I realized that you are way more plugged into things I didn't even know existed.
Well, I spent years like
so many people and are familiar with so many names,
like the podcasters.
Not just that, but like this, like the like I don't know who these people are.
I mean, he's a tech business guy essentially. He's actually more of a motivational speaker. Like he's in the tech world.
So he gives TED Talks.
And I want to say he made like he started at his father's wine company or something and took that to the next level with marketing. Like his father wasn't doing anything online. He wasn't doing anything with his marketing. And he just like...
He's too busy building a fucking wine business with his bare fucking hands, Junior.
Right. He doesn't have time for this internet shit.
You put an E-front on a store and now you're the big shit? Get out of here.
Yeah. And you're going to make our customer service department great and surprise people with awesome things.
Every time he goes back home, his dad looks at him with barely contained disgust. Like, when's the last time you got your hands dirty in those vineyards, boy? You need to get off of TED and get out there and driving your Model S
around, your fancy cars, your highfalutin
I
talk.
have no son.
Yeah, I don't really follow many of those people anymore. That was years ago. That was back when I was working at the old insurance company, because I would have hours a day. Like in the morning, I'd come in and spend like half an hour just reading Hacker News, and learning who all these people were and what they were doing and the new tech. And not anymore. I'm out of that world.
And I never was in it.
I'm into the podcasting world now, and I still don't know anybody.
And that's the thing. I pay surprisingly little information about the industry. I think I'm going to try to start doing a better job of that. Because I'm always worried about community content, things like that. But like the nuts and bolts of technology and frameworks and who are the innovators of it. Like you know what? I used to be more plugged in, but like I kind of got like ran off by the community. Because the places where like the points, like the podcasting groups that like were my points of contact for that, were just like a shit show of amateurs spouting bad information,
asking beginner-ass questions.
Yeah, and like professionals,
which is fine for beginners,
professionals getting downvoted and shit for trying to, maybe blunt, but giving accurate information, and just really, really turned me off of it. I guess I should have. Then the other thing is like getting off Twitter didn't help because Twitter's really good for just like taking the pulse of like an industry. Yeah. Like you can see ripples of news go through it and people's reactions and get a lot of different perspectives. But fuck social media.
Yeah, God, I've got like a whole season of Empire businesses that I could do simply on the topic of getting started in podcasting and the industry that has cropped up around that.
It's a good thing we're doing the Empire business.
We are.
We should talk about this. Because this is like this is the most popular club feature, except for maybe movies. We are going to experiment with something where we take club content and make it seasonal. So we're going to like
and reasonable.
We're going to be retiring like Quip and our video game playthroughs in favor of like an Empire business season where we're going to do like 6 to 12 Empire businesses and release them, and then we will maybe get like silent movies back going, and then we'll do a couple of those and release it, and then we might go back to Quips for a little bit, and then
you scared everybody when you said retire Quip and gameplays.
Well, I'm saying permanently. I mean, like they're going like just hiatus, like it's season 1 is done, season 2 will come back 9 months from now or whatever.
Right. Like serial podcasts or like any TV show you watch.
Because because what our habit was, anytime we come up with a cool club feature, it's like we just add that and like the club becomes bigger and more valuable. And at some point that became a deterrent for new ideas because it's like, well, yeah, we could do that 3 or 4 times, but Jesus Christ, once a month?
Could we do it every month? Or
and
every
Quip,
week?
like, the last few times, like, our random generators have, like, been scraping the bottom of the barrel, and it, like, takes 3 or 4 times as long as it used to do these things, and it's like, we just need to take a break from it, but... And then, so...
Yeah, I mean, you probably noticed, like, look, lunch was our first club feature, right? And lunch was a weekly thing, and we're like, hey, we can do this every week.
And
That'll be a club feature. Like, and we can do lunch every week,
as long as people...
But then we had cocktails with Jim and Aaron, which... was also a weekly feature, and it lasted a few months, and then we stopped it. And then we went to these monthly features where we got Quip and we got gameplays. You can see the progression, right? From, hey, let's do everything we do weekly, to, hey, let's do most of the stuff we do monthly, to now let's do the stuff we do seasonally. Because, I think there are a couple of reasons that it makes sense. Most of all, in my mind, it gives us the opportunity to do things while we're excited about them, and not have to do things when we're not.
Right.
Which, to me, makes better content.
Yeah. I also think it's some ancillary benefits are like when we get like a producer in here, we can do a whole bunch of like the content generation and then hand it over to them and they can plus it, like turn it into an actual production. We're also kind of limited by the amount of things we can do, like the video and audio, and like it might be more interesting if someone came and, like serial podcasted it up and made it more of a production, and that's harder to do when you're, doing it once a month and has to be out the next day. And so then again, it's also an experiment. This could be a massive failure, and we go back to the way things are doing. But it's something we want to try to get more variety, to try to appeal to more people, and try to keep things fresh and interesting for ourselves. Because we think that's in the end win-win-win for everybody. And the other video game thing is like the also like we're gonna be moving more onto Twitch, and that's like. Like they're cannibalizing your own market there. So, it's not that we're stopping playing video games, as we're doing it more on Twitch. And also we're going to start doing more live watches on Twitch. I'm excited because Twitch just did the survey implying that they're actually going to build feature sets around enabling communities to watch movies and television shows and things like that together as an interactive experience, which is like, Jesus Christ, that is like methamphetamine for like I think our fan base. I think the club would love that. Imagine like Friday night movie nights or something. Like we do it once a month and we host like some movie that like everyone knows about, we can all see, and Jim and I are doing a live watch, and so I think it's good. I think it's a good direction. It's something we're going to be trying. So the next quip that comes out will be the last quip for a while. Won't be the last quip because God knows we enjoy doing them, but it'll be the last one for a while. And we're going to have a big Empire business season because we got tons of ideas for one, and we need to strike while the iron's hot. All right, is it my turn now?
Yes.
MFT. Are Jim and Aaron turning into Chris and Andy from the Watch podcast? They seem to be less and less impressed by what's on TV or film. For example, Mission Impossible. Is that a product of watching too much stuff, or sometimes it's a requirement for good podcasting? I have no answers for you because it's things that I've been wondering about myself. Like when I see Mission Impossible get 97% fresh, and I think that's a 4 out of 5 star movie. I start to think like, what's wrong with me? I mean, I see that the stunts are sick.
Yeah.
But you know, as budgets keep going up and special effects keep increasing, like that's kind of a given. Like, what are the stakes of the stunts, and are they believable, and do they connect? And like some people accused us of like, well, you haven't watched. In my case, I missed one Mission Impossible. In Jim's case, he's missed 15 ones. Well, you shouldn't even do a Mission Impossible podcast. I'm like, is that what? Because like we can not do Mission Impossible podcasts. Like if it's offensive to people that we like, a majority of the movie going community haven't seen everything, but Jim doesn't see every Marvel movie. Like, so we stopped doing Marvel movies.
I don't read the comic books, so
but we still enjoy them.
Yeah,
maybe we just didn't like Mission Impossible.
This is a stupid thing to me. Like, if I can rant for a second,
because we had people rant at us in the mailbag, and this is kind of like our, you know, they're all club members. They probably listen to the lunch, and I'm not like singling you out. It's because I'm not mentioning names.
No, I just genuinely don't understand the mentality that if you are new to something, you can't possibly have anything meaningful to say about it unless you have seen unless you're completely immersed in it.
Yeah.
And that to me is foolish because it, A, is simply not true. I can judge a movie on its merits solely on what they show me on the screen.
Right.
I can tell you if a movie is good or bad, and I'm entitled to my opinion on that. B, I think it blocks people from getting into things. And if you're passionate about a thing and you desperately want everyone else to see how awesome it is, why are you barring people from admission? This elitist attitude about like, I have been here from the beginning and I have seen it all, and therefore my opinion is more valid on it than your opinion if you just got into it. Like I don't understand why you're pushing people away from the thing you love.
It's gatekeeping. By
saying you can't. Yeah, it's the gatekeeping culture. I've just never understood it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have another take on it. I think that like I've observed that people just don't like it when they disagree with us. Like, hey, like we go to Jim and like we're always like nodding our head and like, yeah, preach, amen. Whoa, I don't agree with this. And it's uncomfortable. And like this is just a differently stated version, because I think the subtext is if you had seen it all, you would be in that 97%.
Yeah, yeah.
When there's a lot of times where I almost assure you that if I'd seen it all, like my opinion would be lower, because I'm actually allowing in my statements that I could be missing some of the subtleties here because I haven't seen the whole thing.
And that's the thing. We don't hide the fact that we haven't seen everything. We tell you that, and that's a valid perspective for so many people who are in our same boat.
It would be super easy just to lie. Oh, yeah, we're huge Mission Impossible fans, and when, you know, Ethan and Unt dangled off that helicopter was the fucking most amazing, you know, like, we could, but, like, I don't know.
But that's the thing. There are so many people out there who haven't seen a Mission Impossible since 1 or 2, and might want to get back in on this, and they want our opinion as them, as proxies for them on whether or not they can do that.
And they're also
we're not talking to the people who have seen every single one, because they already know they're listening to other critics who are in their boat.
I also think there's like a mismatch in styles, because people are used to like are kind of exhaustively researched, and like we do take in everything like TV footage, and then we go to our movies
stuff,
which is kind of like essentially half-assed podcast all the time.
It's instant takes.
And like, you know, someone that messages like, you know, as professionals you have a responsibility to watch all the thing before you criticize it. And I'm like, well, I didn't sign that contract.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, I'm not a professional.
And if last week I wouldn't have time to watch Game of Thrones 3 times and research someone's obscure question about Targaryen history had I gone and watched 2 more Mission Impossibles. So I probably just wouldn't have done Mission Impossible, which is like, I kind of feel like maybe I shouldn't do Mission Impossible.
Is that what you want? You want us to do nothing unless we know everything about it?
Yeah. I mean, again, like I think that stuff. Like if we get like, it'd be one thing if we were like missing every other episode of like the Westworld and be like, the fuck is going on? But like, you know, missing one Mission Impossible is not the same as like going up and taking a shit for 20 minutes during Act 2 of the movie and coming back and being like, I don't know what's going on. Like, those movies are designed to be entry points each single one. Like they're like trust me, the producers are definitely leaning on the script writers to, and there is no context I didn't know. I knew who Michelle Monaghan was in her, and I knew the was there an Elsie? I don't know their names. Shit, I don't know anybody's name. I knew the MI6 agent and her relationship with the bad MI6 ex agent, and I also understood her relationship with Ethan and how that's like a professional but also romantic kind of like flirtation, and her limitations and like what her like I understood all that shit because the movie was designed to give me those cheat sheets. Yeah. So like, that's why maybe we should have saved this rant for a Black Klansman, but I just wanted to talk
is there
about
like a Black Klansman
no, I'm just saying that's the next
should know about
movies, and we could just do like, hey, just want to say like, you know,
do I have to go read a comic about Black Klansmen? Is that what's gonna happen?
You have to actually join the Klan. Oh, and then you have to be a civil rights activist, and then you have to be an FBI agent.
Yes, and then tell a movie script writer.
You also have to have plastic surgery to look like Adam Driver, and then you have to infiltrate.
I'm halfway there. I'll just have my brother sit in for
peel your brother's face. You just do like a Nick Cage thing with your brother, and you're there.
Face off.
But no, to take your point, that I mean, I hope I can be like Roger Ebert, where certainly he got jaded late in life, or even like, you know, midway through his life, but he also was able to see a very superior version of something he's seen a million times and see like, this is a breath of fresh air for this thing. Yeah. But like, I don't think it's a bad thing to cultivate a taste in something you're passionate about. Like, it's fine to drink $4 Chuck, but you're also not really that into wine. You know, and there's also crazy. You can start spending $300 bottles and like, you know, like it's whatever. But like, I think if you're into something, cultivating a taste and discrimination is a good thing. Because otherwise, you don't know what's good. You're trading on like a naivete and like a primacy of like new and interesting experiences versus like the quality of something on the face of it.
No, we've talked about, you know, how lining up with the critics who are roughly similar to you in experience as far as watching film and TV is typically a good thing and what naturally happens. Yeah. So I'm all for that. Here's the other thing. I am in that 97%. Rotten Tomatoes is not a judge of how good a movie is. Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes is simply a judge of how many people thought the movie was good enough to see. And 97% of people who reviewed that movie thought it was good enough to see.
And I too.
And I said that in my review. I said this is a movie that I would recommend just for the action scenes alone. Yes. You don't even have to be into Mission Impossible.
I
am in that 97%. I don't know what the complaint is
just here. Tom Cruise's defiance of normal human aging. It's worth the price of admission.
Absolutely.
So, you know, all right. I
feel like people look at Rotten Tomatoes and they go, "Ooh, that's how good the movie is." No. I mean, it's an aggregate. It's an aggregate measurement of how many people liked the movie.
Because when I say it's high, I don't mean like. Well, I do mean like if it's like, you know, I don't think it's an A++, but like I guess I was surprised that out of professional critics, that 97% of them thought it was worth seeing. Because like most action adventure movies kind of like have the opposite effect. So like when I saw that and I was going to the movie, I was expecting to like be blown the fuck away, and I was blown away by aspects of the production, but not the production as a whole. Anyway, let's move on. You got a tweet?
I do. BJ Wickoff says, you stop at a gas station on a road trip. What snack and drink are your go-to?
Oh, Coke Zero, peanut M&Ms. Done. That's it.
Really?
That's it, and it's been that way for years.
Water and combos. Typically pizza combos.
Do you not... I guess I try to imbibe a good amount of caffeine throughout, because most of my road trips are happening kind of I tend to be the graveyard shift driver. So
well, like, at a gas station,
water, no. I would have a hard. Oh, he just said gas, because I guess I interpret that as road trip, because if I'm just at a gas station,
at a gas station on a road trip.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I get caffeine and something that I can eat until my jaws hurt, which is like, or if they got almond M&Ms, even better.
Yeah.
Oh my God, almond M&Ms are like, I think the height of candy technology for me. And it's kind of rare to see them. So like whenever I'm in the candy and I see that beige package, I'm like, fuck yes. Share a size, yeah, it's going all in my belly. I ain't sharing with nobody. You buy your own damn tear and share. This is tearing in my belly. But yeah, and I like, yeah. So there.
No, I used to be big on like getting energy drinks and stuff on road trips. I don't really anymore. I get waters, and I choose to imbibe my caffeine through coffee. So I would not get that at a gas station though.
I have cutoffs where like if I'm within 3 or 4 hours of going to sleep, like I stop the Red Bull and the caffeine.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if it's like 9 o'clock at night and I'm gonna drive till 3 o'clock in the morning, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get a 12-ounce Red Bull in me.
Yeah.
Because I'll be crashing right about the time I need to sleep. Let's see. Fern from NYC. Billy D confirmed for episode 9. Is it too little, too late? Kind of wish he was Justin Thoreau in episode 8, and he actually was the hacker. And I think that would have been cool. I don't know.
I'm excited to see Billy D back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to not see episode 9. And I'm also not going to be like I'm super open for me to be back into the mainline Star Wars canon.
Here's what we should do.
I was just left cold by, we
should do an experiment. We should say that we've never seen Star Wars, any of the Star Wars movies, and go into episode 9 to review it as a bald movie.
We should do
and
what?
see what the reaction is.
We should do, actually we.
Yeah, just say, look, I haven't seen a Star Wars since the originals.
Is this an Al and Joe deal?
No, it's not like a troll. I'm just curious. Since we have seen it and we would bring that knowledge to it, what people would say, like how the opinion would differ on our review of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Like do A, B. Like we do two. That's what you do. You do two separate podcasts. One where we acknowledge it, one where we don't.
Yeah. And literally the only difference is we say up front, we've either not seen a movie since the original Star Wars or we've seen them all.
We just insert that one sentence and then we see, like, we A/B test the feedback. It'd be an interesting social experiment.
I don't think we'll do it. But
I think people be so enraged by that admission that they just. I think the majority of them wouldn't even finish the podcast. I would. Like, if
that tells us something.
Like, if I was listening to a Star Wars review that hadn't seen like all of the movies, I'd be like, it's just a fucking waste of my time.
But I wouldn't go to them and say, "Fuck you for not having seen these and daring to review, having the gall to review this movie." I just say it's simply not for me.
Yeah,
I want to listen to somebody who has my level of experience with the thing.
I will say I understand why a fan would feel like yeah, because I'm just driving by their community. If I was in that community and I felt like the person was making an ass of themselves, which I think is like the kind of the subtext of a lot of these people, I guess I would reach out to them. And I'm not saying don't. I'm just like, this is my thoughts on your thoughts. All right, that's what I don't. I don't want people to feel attacked. I'm just Some of those were strongly worded emails. These are my honest opinions back. Also, what are your thoughts on Game of Thrones picking their spin-off to be based on the Long Night? We finally get to see ice spiders?
I think it's pretty cool.
It
sounds awesome.
Out of all the ideas, it seemed like it's the best one because it's far enough back in the past and shrouded enough mystery that there are some stakes. I mean, you do know that
see the wall made.
You do know that the good guys win, but don't you know that in Game of Thrones too?
Probably.
The question is at what cost?
Yeah.
And we don't know with the Age of Heroes, since they're all dead now. We don't know what that cost was. And there also could be some horrifying implications of like maybe the humans didn't beat the others so much as made like some kind of crazy pact to sacrifice their children to them on a regular basis. Like there's a lot of interesting things they could do with it. But like Robert's Rebellion, no, if I was like, maybe it's just me, but like I just was not interested in that. I know every fucking minute down to the individual battles and who won and who died and who fought and who was pardoned and who fled to Essos and
what if they did like a band of brothers with a group of soldiers in Robert's Rebellion, but not like Robert and Ned and like the main players?
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
What if they did like a
sure.
smaller,
like
more
if they
intimate
zoomed
look
in onto a story? Yeah.
Right.
That's
did a couple of seasons of that or something.
But I wasn't seeing that. I was seeing like essentially young Sean Bean and young
right.
Bobby and gods I was strong then, and wouldn't it be cool to see him cave in chest with a warhammer? And it would. Just everything else around it that actually makes it worth watching is what I worried about. Let's see. Travis Schmavis. Being that it's lunch, how much cooking do you guys do at home? I came across a recipe for sliced keema. It's an Indian ground beef dish that has several different spices and different flavor profiles. My whole family loves it. Do you guys have a go-to recipe or something special or different?
Keema. Is it like meatloaf, like Indian meatloaf?
Beats the fuck out of me, man.
Sliced keema.
It apparently is a ground beef dish that has several different spices and different flavor profiles.
Sounds like meatloaf.
It's the Pop Rocks of beef.
Oh, God. No. No, I don't want my meat exploding in my mouth. That's terrible. I do a lot of cooking at home, mostly through the the meal kit.
You know, I never got mine.
Really?
Like, is it going to come? Is it ever going to come?
I was talking with Cindy over at Libsyn, and she says they had some oversight. Okay. At HelloFresh, and yes, it will.
Are they going to make good?
They'll make good.
They're going to fucking make good. They better make good, because I did not get it within plus or minus 3 days of the desired date.
Right.
And they certainly did not stick to their script. One of the Empire business is going to be the Sorry State of Advertising podcast. Promise you that.
But the thing I like most about those meal delivery kits is when you collect enough recipes after being subscribed for a while, you kind of build up a catalog, and then what we've been doing recently is just going to the store, buying the ingredients, and making them. And you save like...
Are you going to the next level where you're starting to freestyle? Like, hey, let's substitute this for something else because we know we like that.
Not because we know we like it, but more like we can't find the ingredient. And we're like, yeah, let's put this in it instead. Yeah, we do some of that. Seth
and I have been like weaponizing food. Like, we keep on, because we keep on adjusting. This is something we do all the time, but like, once a month we'll have like a Friday night where we're like, let's do the thing we like, but let's do a
let's fuck it up.
Let's do a 4 Berlin cheese and use heavy cream and do like, just make it like a fucking, something you go to a restaurant to eat, like that kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is so good. How can we make it better? And that's kind of fun. The thing that I'm doing of late is I make this like potato pie where you take
you were telling me about this.
Yeah, it's like the single most visually impressive thing I can make. You take an oven safe dish and you grease it up, and then you use a mandolin to slice up a bunch of red potatoes that have that kind of waxy consistency, and you do like in the end of 300 where the 300 are like tortoiseshelling over Leonidas, and it's like complete like overlay. It looks like that. And then you do layers of gold potatoes. You alternate layers of bacon. And all these potatoes are like soaked in this heavy cream with Parmesan and garlic and chives and stuff. I mean, I'm essentially making a fancy loaded baked potato. But this is where the presentation comes in. You just layer that stuff with like different cheeses, and you get to the top, you put a fluffy pastry on it. You bake that for like an hour and a half, and then you take it out of the oven, and you flip it upside down so that the Leonidas shield array can get like golden brown. You put it under the broiler for like 10 or 15 minutes, and it's just... Again, I'm essentially making a fancy loaded baked potato, but holy shit.
I bet it's easier to eat.
And and it looks the business, and you also have like you save some of the cream that the potatoes have been soaking in, and you mix in some Parmesan and garlic and salt, and it essentially makes like the best version of like an Alfredo sauce I've ever had. To the point that I'm using that for like Alfredo sauce, but yeah, that's the thing that I'm like really onto now.
Nice. Pioneer Art.
Yes.
Says, what weapon from TV or movies would you choose for battle? Any weapon, gun, sword, lightsaber, magic wand? Magic wand?
Oh, well, there you go.
That's the winner.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
did you see Doctor Strange take on Thanos with 4 out of the 6 Infinity Stones? Like, he almost handed Thanos his ass. Like, that magic is the weapon.
Yeah.
If it's real, you want it.
You answered your own question.
Magic wand. Yeah. Leviosa with that shit.
Also, I would be shit with a lightsaber. Like, I'm not a Force user.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't know how to wield a lightsaber.
Yeah, I almost, on Beaver Island with my machete, I almost took my fucking leg off with that thing.
Did you overswing or what?
Yeah.
Swing down
there was a pretty, like a branch like as thick as my thumb, and I took a swing that I thought would like, I was kind of like awkwardly placed with like going up a hill with my like foot halfway up the hill, and I was slashing down with my right, and like it just went through that fucking thing like butter, and like missed taking off my leg below the knee by like an inch. To where it's point where like it scared me to where like I started doing my technique totally different.
Yeah.
So a lightsaber, oh yeah. I'd look like legless, armless Bran after like three sessions of that thing.
Yep.
Lucas Presley, is there any movie with a great premise setup, a horrible execution that you would remake if you were able to? Highlander.
Yes,
a million times Highlander. Did you know Levi reached out? He wants to like write a spec script with us.
Our Levi?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's a good winter project.
Do it.
Yeah, like start a Google Doc and just start like take.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Find because you can download scripts to movies. I kind of just want to take the script and just start changing the stupid parts.
yeah.
Because it's a good backbone. Or maybe you just I even want to remake Highlander. I want to remake Highlander 2 and 3.
You want to remake the universe, like the conceptual part of that universe and story is awesome.
Yeah,
you want to just remake the events. I think.
Like just plus it, like gold plate everything, rose gold it up. Do you have a different answer? Because that's my go-to from now until it's done. Because like after I saw Highlander, I'm like, this is a fucking badass. Like there's video game possibilities, role-playing, collectible card game possibilities, action figures. Like if you can make a really good PG-13 version of this universe, it would be hot. It'd be pretty hot.
And then in like 15 years or so, you can morph it to the R.
There you go, right? Because that generation's right. You can do the dark, edgy version.
Yep.
You know, we already have the Adam West version. That's the thing that we've got right now.
I don't know. Some of that was pretty dark. Like that Kurgan stuff was.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying like it's also campy and silly. What we need is like the Tim Burton version, and 15 years after that, we can make Nolan, or maybe like the Zack Snyder version of Nolan.
All right. Yep.
Your turn, man.
Okay, we've got Mav Sasquatch, who asks, have you boys ever played the Fantasy Flight Game of Thrones board game?
Oh, yes.
If so, have you seen the announcement of the Targaryen are an expansion game, and what are your thoughts?
I haven't.
Yeah, this is one we played several times with like Jesse and
it's a great
Levi and Eric.
A great fuck you buddy game.
Yeah.
Like it's a notch below diplomacy in the just how, but it feels like you're playing Game of Thrones. It's a great, and I'd only play it with friends that you were very strong with and who really admired the idea of actually playing a game, because it's cutthroat. There's only one of you in their crew. They're going to be like Ramsay Bolton, and you're going to be so many Theons.
Watch out for Geordie too. He's the stealth biggest threat in that game.
Right.
I hadn't heard about the Targaryen are an expansion, but cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder where they fit in on the board.
Maybe a separate board. I don't know. But
maybe
maybe
they start just on Dragonstone, but they have dragons.
Right.
But I've seen how that go. They take over the whole thing in like a decade, except for Dorne, because Dorne is the exception. They're the Mongol empire of fake history. Cheaton. I recently joined Audible. Could you guys recommend any must-read books that would get the Bald Move seal of approval?
The Expanse. Get those Expanse books. They're awesome. If you're into sci-fi at all, or even just good like geopolitical thriller kind of stuff with a sci-fi bent.
How's the book reading? Like because here's the thing. Like my and I like Audible, and I've listened to like but like now that I don't commute as often, I vastly prefer reading to being read to. So like I haven't listened to an Audible book in years.
I'm exactly the opposite.
Yeah. So like I can say that like the Game of Thrones stuff was really cool, and I loved the whisper sync, so I could read at night and then wake up and like drive for a half hour to my work and like pick right off and listen at my cubicle, drive home, and then I was right synced to where I wanted to get back to. And I really like that I can make Royce like read 1.5 times faster than he does. Because that's the thing, like I used to just not be able to do audiobooks, because when they're on CDs, it's just like, God damn it, I read 5 times faster than this guy.
Yeah.
So how's the Expanse, like the audio experience of the Expanse? The person is a male or female?
Male, and
they do a good Avasarala.
Yeah, no, he's actually really good with the voices.
Okay.
He doesn't try too hard. He's not like really leaning into it, but it's enough to distinguish the characters.
Yeah.
And give you kind of a different feel for each one.
Yeah.
Which is what I appreciate. Like, I don't want a man to try and do an accurate woman's voice.
Right.
I just wanted to put something into it that tells me this is this character.
Yeah. I really like the Harry Potter books, except for the guy could not do a good Hermione. His Hermione just sounded like a whiny, terrible Harry, oh Harry, oh Harry. Like he just did a terrible Hermione, and that was the one flaw that my son didn't notice because we listened to a lot of them together. I listened to all of Game of Thrones. I've listened to a lot of shit. What's that Jim Butcher series? The Codex Alara, I think. And that was a lady, and I thought she did an excellent job at doing all the voices. And it always helps when a person can be 12 or 13 different people. I listened to a lot of the Mistborn series, Sanderson's Mistborn series. And I thought the lady that read those did a really good job.
The guy who reads The Expanse does a just amazing Miller.
Yeah,
just a fantastic, as good as what Thomas Jane is doing.
Interesting.
Honestly. Another really good one is Neil Stephenson's Seven Eves, which I really liked. It's also sci-fi. I pretty much exclusively listen to sci-fi and nonfiction.
Also the Patrick O'Brien series. I think this guy's name Patrick, or is it Patrick Tull? Whoever he is, he does a fucking amazing. It helps because 99% of the characters are rough-hewn English seaman, so he just got that he can talk the educated English of the officers, and he can go below decks and get really guttural and oh fuck you Joe and all that stuff, and he does a good job too. But again, it's been several years. I think the last one I did was 2.5 years ago was the Sanderson Mistborn series, because I was going to Florida and I wanted something to listen to on the way down there. You have any more tweets? We can go into lightning mode.
Lightning mode. Quentin says, Aaron, how familiar are you with the works of economist Thomas Sowell? Sowell?
Not.
I believe you would derive great value from his analysis of disparities in wealth between racial groups. I highly recommend his book, Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
Cool. I mean, that's the thing. That has the people on top shitting their pants if the poor white folk and the poor brown folk ever get together and be like, this is bullshit. Watch the fuck out. Texas Sandman, what's your favorite classic wedding activity? Chicken dance, bouquet toss, garter toss, cake cutting, birdseed.
Cake eating. Forget the cutting.
I gotta say, as a Jehovah's Witness, because they're such a fucking dour bunch of people. Yeah. You can't toast because it's pagan. You can't throw rice because it's pagan. You can't, you can give wedding rings because the sisters would be super pissed if they didn't get a wedding ring. And even that's so patronizing and bullshitty. They're the most dour. Witness funerals and weddings are the least joyous and upbuilding things you can imagine. They are.
It's all about God.
Soulless machines that just convey the same fucking message you hear 3 times a week all the time. So I've been to a few worldly weddings, quote unquote worldly weddings, including I guess what's interesting is how much variety you see. Although I don't know, the wedding industry is kind of everyone reads the same fucking magazines and watches the same shows and has the same ideas. There's very few unique kind of interesting deals. I mean,
I've been to full blown church ass weddings, Catholic
church
style,
ass weddings, getting kneeling and standing up and down,
and the vows are delivered in different languages and all that kind of shit. I mean, it was amazing. The cathedral was incredible.
Right.
And then I've been to beach weddings where it's a couple of folding chairs set up. Oh, yeah, in Florida in August, because that's when you want to do an outdoor beach wedding.
Oh my god!
Where everybody's dressed up in suits.
Yeah,
but it was also cool.
I will say the one with the chicken dance. Every witness wedding I ever went, they did and the electric slide.
For me, it's the drinking.
Yeah, that's true.
That's my ritual at weddings.
Yeah, open a cash bar, pretty nice.
I get just drunk enough to do the chicken dance.
Let's see. Your turn.
Oh, MP3 says, wants to know about the top 100 TV episodes of the century. We talked about that. But then what would be the top 10 episodes you have reviewed and the top 10 episodes you have seen in this century? Dude, I can't answer that right now.
International Assassin.
There are a lot of them on that list, I will say.
Leftovers International Assassin is up there for greatest single hour of television I've ever seen.
I mean, Ozymandias, Breaking Bad, fan-fucking-tastic.
Suitcase of Mad Men.
Yeah.
Was that the one that made it or was something else?
That made it, yeah.
Okay.
That was their #1 pick with, Peggy and Don having it out there.
Yeah, that's such a... it was in the glass all the time episode of Justified.
That's the one they picked.
Did they really?
Uh-huh.
Good for them. That was the finale. That was the finale of season 2. Season 2 of Justified. If you sleep on Justified, you don't even need to see the first season. Just watch the second season. It's a fucking Southern Gothic, amazing thing. Aussie Greg from, you guessed it, Australia. Have you guys? Have you guys seen the teaser trailer for Matthew Weiner's new show, The Romanovs? The Wiener's doing The Romanovs.
No.
Me either. I knew he was working on it, but I haven't seen the trailer. We will, as soon as we get done with lunch, we're going to sit down and watch it, and then I might talk about it on Bald Move TV or something else, because I am definitely anxiously awaiting to see what he comes up with next. Your turn?
All right, Kumano7's trying to dump a whole bucket of water, fire, I don't know. Something. He's trying to throw a wrench into the gears of lunch with this. Any thoughts on this? NRA claims they are in deep financial troubles. I hate lobbyist groups and consider them one big lobby group. Personal feelings on guns aside, I'm not a fan.
That seems the same way the Jehovah's Witnesses are always saying they're out of money.
Right. A rally cry.
Yeah, they want
the same
more
way
money.
that Bald Move said we need to be saved. I'm kidding.
Well, hey, has the NRA opened up their had their chief financial officer walk you through the finances and how they're going to go bankrupt in the next 6 months? Let's direct action. Because if so,
I think there are some legal filings in the state of New York that people are writing about this. Yeah, so maybe in the state of New York, I have no idea.
That Russian money starting to dry up.
Yeah,
too much heat.
Yeah,
too much heat.
Gotta get out. Get the Chinese money. There's plenty of money there.
And then when they just keep rolling between the Chinese, the Russians,
the Middle East money. There's a lot of money in the Middle East too.
Oil sheik money, tons. They're gonna tap my ass for $50 million. You can shake a tree and get a couple hundred for the NRA for sure. For sure.
Some of your members would volunteer their ass. Some of them, at least.
Sure. Incat, any thoughts about Chris Hardwick getting quote-unquote cleared by AMC and NBC for getting back his hosting gigs?
I don't know. I mean, they probably did a legal look at this thing.
Yes.
And said, what is our exposure? Can we afford to bring him back? What would cost us more?
Right.
And they said, bring him back. I don't know anything about it.
I feel like I've kept up a little bit. It does seem like the woman who accused him didn't have a lot of because usually when this happens, many other people come forward and be like, "Yo, totally, this guy is exactly the way he is."
Right.
That didn't happen this time, and they did this investigate. I do think it's interesting that people who, when the accusations came forward, whoa, is innocent until proven guilty, innocent proven guilty. There is a completely zero transparency investigation by a law firm that looks like it's got a bunch of entanglements to Chris Hardwick's family and AMC, and they're like, "Oh, due process. It's been no, it hasn't.
No, none of this. All they did is evaluate risk. That's all they did with this investigation.
And I think it's probably more likely that this woman did because Chris has put forth some evidence that suggests her timeline is wrong and her view of the breakup was fabricated, and she said that she had some proof that she has not pro-offered, and I don't know why you wouldn't. But it also is not, like I said on the thread, it's not a referendum and #MeToo. This is not slowing that momentum, and if you think it should or it is, I think you're going to be on the wrong side of history. Just because guys like George Takei and Chris Hardwick turn out to have been falsely accused, perhaps, does not wipe the. I just saw something on, I think it was Wired, that there's that they in the last 12 months they've tracked 171 different accusations about powerful politicians or people in Hollywood, and the vast majority of those were true.
Right.
Now not all of them led to like Dan Harmon was one of those, and he apologized and made a teachable moment, and the lady publicly forgave him, and it seemed like everyone got what they wanted out of that interaction. It doesn't have to nuke your career. If you beat your lover, you sexually abuse your lover, you rape women, you're gonna have a bad, and there's a lot of well attested evidence that you're gonna have a bad time, and you should. Doesn't mean maybe you go to jail. Although guys like Harvey Weinstein seems like he's on that road, but like this isn't a Me Too referendum. Honestly, I kind of feel good when I find that, because like you just get it's an awful feeling to see people that because I don't not like Chris Hardwick. I've had some fake beef with him the same way. Like it'd be like if I found out Eric Walquist, hey Eric, beat his wife. I would be so devastated, because I know he's capable of empathy and being a good guy, and that he would do something so it would really hurt me. And like I have a little bit of that, some of these public figures that I've admired, and I get it. Like, so like I don't get any pleasure from like, you know, seeing these guys taken down. It just is a necessity. Like this is part of the society, the just society forming that I hope we end up with at the end of this process. Your turn.
Zach says, what do we think about Chris Rock to star in Fargo season 4?
That sounds kind of cool.
I have no idea. I mean, Fargo season 4 could look like anything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that show jumps.
It's got to have snow. That's the only thing Fargo has to have. Yeah. Apparently.
Snow and accents, and that's literally it.
Yeah. I mean,
but I don't. That's fine with me.
To me, Noah Hawley is like getting to Lindelof levels of like, I'm just between Legion and his overall body of work on Fargo. I think he's just a really creative, interesting, innovative guy that works with a lot of like lights out talent. So like even season 2 of Fargo, which I was disappointed in, still had like amazing acting and started like really move forward some careers, and you know, led to Gene Smart killing it on Legion. So I'm Maddie. What kind of stuff do you guys want to do in the next 5 to 10 years? Not achieve, but just do. I think there's always too much pressure in society to do something. You're the pressure cooker, Maddie.
Yeah, Jesus. I'm feeling the pressure. No, I want to move, and I don't know if that means like abroad or here locally in the U.S. I would like to move to a place that I am more interested in living, because honestly, the Midwest just doesn't do it for me.
Do you think, like, if you move to, like, the Roman Alps or Auckland, New Zealand, do you think you'll find a spot where, like, you want to lay down roots? Is that what you're hoping for? Or do you just want to, like, do you see, like, every 5 years, like, I've done the New Zealand thing, time to move to Japan. I've done the Japanese thing, time to move to fucking Austria. Like, is that do you see that? Or are you wanting to find a place where you feel like, yes, this is where I want to, like, my bones to lay?
As I get older, I think I'm starting to skew more toward the I'd like to settle down here, essentially. But I think that's also maybe a fantasy of mine. Like, I might forever roam, just like Metallica does.
Sure. Wherever you may wander.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess I don't necessarily see those two things at odds with each other in the way that most people would. Like, I can, you know, set down roots for 5-10 years,
right,
and then go, maybe I want to move somewhere else. I don't,
because that's kind of like
once you jettison your family, it's much easier to become a nomad.
Sure, right. One might say it's a psychological reaction to that rejection.
Potentially, yeah. But
you're Bruce Banner, like moving from town to town until
until no one notices I turn into a green monster. No, I don't know. I probably have the fantasy of settling down in my head, and the reality will be that I'll just move around forever.
Because I feel the opposite. Like, once like Jack is reasonably self-sufficient, that's when like I want to get the sailboat and like become a citizen of the world, man. Like, cross oceans, go where, like, you know, blow up a spot for a couple years and get all the experiences out of it, and move on to the next one. It's weird that we're like on this opposite trajectory here.
Yeah, just how it goes.
It does. Your turn.
That's all I got.
Okay. I got a few more left. Adobo, top 5 junk food weeknesses. I know for a fact he doesn't have any.
Cheez-Its, sunflower seeds.
And I don't either. Like, a top 5. I mean, peanut M&Ms, almond M&Ms, and like my go-to snack now is I get a little ramekin. That's probably like 2 tablespoons, and I half fill it with peanuts, and I half fill it with mini chocolate chips, and that's my evening snack. Because it's essentially, guess what? Peanut M&Ms. Murder Bear, who do you think built the Bat Cave?
Alfred.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, a bolt at a time.
Like, I feel like the bat. Like, here's my. I've been to Mammoth Cave, and like my envision of the Bat Cave is this. It's Mammoth Cave with computers in it. Like, there's very little structure. Like, I guess
he has
like
a couple of platforms.
Where did he get the elevator? And like in the movie they explained that was part of like their underground Civil War railroad, so they could get the slaves from the top level down to hide in the cave real quick. So like that was like done out in the open, but so long ago no one remembers.
Right.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to like. I don't think there was like heavy duty excavation. I don't think engineers were consulted.
Yeah.
Let's see. DeVito, can we please agree to live in a world where Days of Thunder is a prequel to The Walking Dead, and the head injury Rowdy suffers is what leads him to becoming the crazy season 1 Merle Dixon?
Oh, God, I don't remember his character in that movie.
Once Top Gun 2 finishes filming, Tom Cruise can shoot some extra scenes to bridge the two since he hasn't aged in 30 years. Done. Co-signed. Yes. Yeah. Incredible. Danuke, or for Dane from the UK, maybe. Hey, Jim, what's your progress with Zelda? Did you finish it, or did you just finish?
No, I got sidetracked. I started playing it, and then I forget what happened. Something happened. It might have been the carpet fiasco in my the flooding fiasco in my basement, and I got sidetracked. And I haven't been back to it since.
2018.
Yeah.
Hey, Nee Reno. Hey, Aaron. Still planning on commentating on the Fortnite Summer Skirmish one Friday. Yeah, but like I gotta say that like I'm not having nearly as much fun with the official Epic sponsored Fortnite tournament as I was with the Keemstar just like most kills format. I feel like they need to get that to where, because like it's starting to the point where like that was must see TV at my house for like 2 months, and ever since Epic has taken it over, part of it is I've been traveling and I've been busy doing other stuff, but part of it's also like it just it seems like it wasn't as interesting. It turns out making a battle royale tournament with $100,000 winner leads to a lot of camping and unentertaining behavior. So
taking it too seriously.
I would like, and the thing is it pushed Keemstar off the sun. So I would like to do it, but like I haven't been as motivated of late because I think the format is kind of fucked up right now. Brie Lara, will you guys ever do a bald movie of 8th Grade by Bo Burnham? Have you seen any of Bo Burnham's Netflix specials? Dude, you and your girlfriend should pick one and watch it. It's not just hilarious, it's just kind of like mind bending. How you would come up with a show like that.
Yeah.
And I am interested in doing 8th Grade, but whether we do a bald movie of it, it's probably depending on whether Jim gets the Bo Burnham fever.
Never
feel
heard
the burn.
of this movie.
Feel the Burnham. Let's
feel
see.
the Rumham.
Oh, Noel, quick question for about The Expanse. Finally made the commitment to start watching. I'm very impressed so far. Halfway through the first season, I have questions. Should I continue, finish out the first season, then start the books, or should I catch up on all 3 seasons, then go back to the books? I do know that the season 1 and 2 are essentially the 2 books riffle shuffled together.
I don't think books 1 and 2 are vital. I think book 3 is important, even if you watch the show. But yeah, books 1 and 2 are not much different than the show.
Okay, and they're like in a different order, so
yeah, they introduce concepts that you don't find out until book 2, very early in book 1 or in season 1,
right? Stuff
like that. But you kind of get the majority of book 1 and 2 from the show, season 1 and 2.
So if you want the main line, but I feel like anyone that's to that stage will probably read them all anyway.
Yeah,
I'm almost done with the first book because I decided to read the first 3 and stop there, and I've really enjoyed it. But I was shocked to find out that like Avasarala, none of that, Earth is not existent, and the geopolitical scene was a lot different too. Like Earth and Mars weren't on the brink of civil war. I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Hattorian, most embarrassing moment while drunk or under influence of medication or something else? I mean, that The Four Loko plus medicinal weed plus half gallon of Jesse's beer in Seattle, where I puked in their sink and damn near passed out in the middle of a board game and woke up to Eric is dressed up as Batman screaming in my face. Pretty up there. Pretty up there. So
I'm fortunate that as I get older, I'm able to not just limit the amount that I drink, because I often don't. I often get slightly drunker than I'd like to, but I find myself doing less stupid things when I'm drunk.
Okay.
And I think that's just from experience and seeing other people get really wasted and doing stupid things.
Yeah, I haven't got
like I have stories of other people, not that I'm willing to tell here, but like myself, the stupidest thing I can remember doing is when I was 18, we were house sitting for somebody and we got a bunch of booze.
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah, it was me and my other friends, and nobody could prove anything, so nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came from it. There were no consequences other than pride, maybe. But we were.
Was this the Bright situation? Okay,
yeah.
All right,
we were house sitting, me and a bunch of my friends, and we decided we're gonna have a drinking competition, and so we had one of our friends there egging us on, and me and this other friend were facing off, shot for shot, and we're stupid kids. We don't know how much alcohol is too much alcohol.
Right.
And so we had like a third of a bottle of gin or something, and we shoot all of that. That's like 8 shots or something between the two of us. And so this all happens very quickly. And so we're not really feeling drunk. And then we bust out a bottle of whiskey that is full, and we proceed to have like another 12 shots each.
Wow.
Each. Like I've never had that much booze in my life since.
You guys are this close to being a cautionary tale, it sounds like.
Yes. You have no idea.
Wow.
Because of the story that I won't tell about my friend, the other person involved in the situation. But, yeah, and I just got so drunk that apparently I blacked out. I don't remember any of that night.
Yeah.
My friends tell me I was tromping around the house like a marching band, like just screaming things, like tromping around doing this and like just yelling random shit. And I don't even remember what it was, but I woke up the next day. I was still completely wasted. I could at least like remember things.
That's when you're rarefied drunk, when you wake up you're still
drunk.
Fucking drunk.
And I felt like, okay, I need to do something about this. I'm still drunk. I need to get some food or something. Baby. So we went to Taco Bell. No, I didn't continue drinking, but I made the mistake of eating soft tacos, which immediately sent me into Puke Town, and I was in the bathroom for half the day, just puking my guts out. That was, I mean, it's not super embarrassing. Like, that happens to everybody, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't do anything that I feel ashamed of.
Let's say that. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like, because I guess that was like sounded dangerous.
Yes.
Like you guys could have died, and I never. I mean, the one nice thing about me kind of going hog wild in my 30s is I had like a healthy fear of my own mortality. So like, you know, some things would sneak up on me, like the time I got blackout drunk at camping because I underestimated the difference between going from regular label SoCo to black label SoCo.
Oh.
And drinking like 20% more alcohol just like snuck up on me, and suddenly I'm like, I'm done. And then like the Four Loko with the medicinal weed,
combination,
the combination,
powerful.
And mixing liquors wantonly like that. But yeah, like I've not blacked out. I have, I passed out. That camping trip I passed out, but like I remember everything up until the point where Big Beard Josh was helping me into my grandfather's cabin after I had just puked my guts out in the bushes.
Right.
And I remember collapsing into the couch, and then I remember waking up and I was still.
See, you just
drunk.
went to sleep.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So I didn't like that's not black because I understand blackouts like you just it blottos the evening.
Yeah, you're awake and then you're awake again, like, and you don't remember how you got to the couch. You don't remember.
But you were walking around
doing
and saying things that you have no recollection of. Yeah. That's incredible.
I've done that. I've also, gotten drunk and in Chicago, and I'm walking home from the bar with my friends, and I just hang back a little. I turn and I puke in a bush. Keep walking.
Oh yeah,
I'm kind of infamous for that.
Yeah.
But nothing I'm really ashamed of. or embarrassed by.
Switchblade. Hey guys, this is the last one. Want to get your opinion or just kick off a conversation about the recent news of child abuse within Jehovah's Witnesses. Specifically, galling was the recent leak of some elder in charge of records encouraging destruction of information. Quote, because of the potential legal harm they pose to organization. We've run into difficulties in the past because of the records we have. Huh.
Yeah, I heard about this on the Nonprofits podcast.
I mean, this is a thing that's been brewing for about a decade.
Yeah.
And the witnesses have tried to keep it under lap because it's like, you know, it's a perfect storm that their church doctrine has this rule of two witnesses. Like you cannot, like those church will not take action against you. And they also discourage you from involving the worldly authorities, you know, and how many witnesses to child abuse are there typically? It's the person being abused and the abuser. And if the abuser says, well, he or she is crazy and making it up, then that's where from the witness's standpoint, then they tell the family of the aggrieved, well, trust in Jehovah. Like in the cosmic sense, it'll all work out. Because if this guy's a child fucker, he'll get killed in Armageddon. If we live in a world where there is no Armageddon and there's no eternal paradise for the virtuous, then you just let a pedophile get off scot-free. That pedophile is going to knock on doors. That pedophile might be in a position to counsel children one-on-one. And it's and because they're a top-down, tightly organized cult, they kept copious records of all of these kangaroo trials.
Yeah.
And it's fucked them. And now they also have records of them trying to get rid of it. Like,
yeah, it's shocking to me just how you get up at a district convention and you tell people this from a podium. Is that what happened?
No, this is like internal communications.
Okay.
I do think it's incredible that these fuckers get up at district convention and rail against Catholic priest diddling kids, knowing full well the entire time that they have this problem amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Like, the hypocrisy is stunning, but also unsurprising.
Yeah. I think the irony of this, or not even the irony, just the funny part of this is that they created a physical record that could be outed in order to tell people to physically to destroy the physical records that they have of all the accounts of it.
I mean, it's really, it turns
ridiculous.
out covering up a huge crime that's been going on for decades is tough.
Yeah, without leaving a trail.
Yeah, with especially nowadays with forensic intelligence being what it is, and you know,
and emails and servers. And,
sure, and especially when these fuckers don't even barely understand the technology they're using. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a shit show, and it's like my heart goes out to the victims because it's just, you know, imagine going to this congregation, there's 100 people in it, and one of them has molested you as a child, and you went to the elders for help, and they just shrugged and says, and you're stuck in this congregation. And that's it. Like, my God, that is pretty fucking terrible. If you want to know more, the really good one is check out the Royal Commission of Australia. Really put the screws to the witnesses, got one of the governing body to testify on videotape remotely, and he just beclowned himself. Like, it's, you know, not only did he tell a heap of lies, but even with lying and distorting the truth looked pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. So that's it for lunch. This was a long one, wide ranging. Yeah. We had some silly stuff, some, I think, important stuff. Kind of bookended it with that. We'll be back next week with another Bald Lunch. Until then, have a great weekend. I'm Aaron.
I'm Jim.
Later.